My name's Daniel Antonovich, president of Montpelier Springs. What we have here represents the most unusual, phenomenal spring source, erupting springs with a flow of 500 gallons a minute. The 500 gallons a minute represent a constant temperature of 46 degrees, which indicates a very deep underground source which is not affected by environmental conditions on the surface. It can be 100 degrees outside, but still that water flows very cold and very natural and very pristine. This water has exceptional purity, being that it's been utilized as a public water supply for the city of Montpelier for over 150 years. It was discovered by Colonel Jacob Davis, who was the first settler here in Vermont. During this time period, this water was never purified, never processed as a public water supply, never chlorinated. And the spring house represents millions of gallons of flowing spring water, which exits out of the spring area that you see here, erupting flowing springs. There aren't underground springs here. The definition of a true spring is when that water is erupting on its own volition without the benefit of any mechanical means to bring it into a surface. I'd like to introduce to you a person that the Antonovich family has tremendous affection for. He is regarded as Mr. Springwater Montpelier Springs. He's the granddaddy of this spring source, only because Mr. Preston Stubby Martin, who is on my left here, represents a standard of taking care of this spring over a period of years where he can give personal testimonies and telling how much appreciated this water was in relationship to the usage of the community, the city, the town, the outlying areas. And Stubby, can you tell us what are the unique factors regarding this exceptional water resource based on what people have told you about it and how they've used it?
It's the greatest water that ever was, ever had, because it's so pure. And people used to come to the reservoir and used to draw water from Burlington. They used to come from Barry, Montpelier, Worcester, and Calais, and everywhere to get that water to drink, because everybody loved the water.
We're here on the upper portion of the mountainside, which provides the confluence of rock fractures which emanate to the spring site, which is on my right side. The upper portion of this mountain forms a ridge. Within the framework of this ridge, we have several hundred acres that have the aquifer, which contains the extraordinary water which emits out at the lower location. The geological phenomena is that all the rock fractures which emanate from this mountain site come to a confluence of a 1 acre area which is at the spring site. In the framework of this geological phenomena, we have a wall which says the water got to stop here and erupts as free-flowing springs for the benefit of having our spring site located at that location. So on our upper left side, we have our recharge area. On the lower portion here where the spring site is situated, we refer to that as a discharge site. As a backdrop, we have the extraordinary Worcester Range, which reflects exceptional, beautiful environmental circumstance, featuring the mountainsides of the Killington Basin on my right, into the ski areas of Sugarbush, Mad River Glen, and behind that mountain is Mount Mansfield, Vermont's first highest mountain, and of course the second highest mountain is Campbell's Hump, which is behind me. The Colonel Davis compound was on my right. This was referred to as the Davis Farm. And the unique circumstance attached to why the Colonel came here was the exceptional springs that he discovered. We have a very special person, Mr. Jack McGuire, who's referred to as Mr. Springwater of America and also of Europe. He's had a distinguished background in the bottled water industry, and I'd like Jack to tell us all the good things that he has learned and knows about the industry. We consider him an indispensable part of the development of our project, and as a result of our relationship, we are going forward with this man to create the momentum that we want and know we have with this extraordinary natural resource.
Daniel, thank you for that introduction. My name is Jack McGuire, and yes, indeed, I have an extensive background which I'd like to share with you today. But before I get into that, I just want to amplify on some of the things Mr. Antonovich said before. We always judge a spring by its source, And since I've traveled around the world and also looked at sources here in the United States, the criteria still stays the same for a world-type source. And I break it down to 3 parts. 1, if a source has a constant flow. Number 2, if the source has a constant temperature of the water. And most important, does the source mineral content never vary? Certainly on this source we see today, all those criteria fill it. And it'll be my pleasure to be associated with this project as we go along, because it will be, and soon will be, proven to be world class. And now a little bit about my background. Came in 1980 to the Evian company with an extensive background in beverage. And at that point, Perrier entered the United States in 1978, and the people in France didn't want them to have an up on their brand. So it was introduced into the United States in 1980 and brought in test market in Miami. And from that point on, there was no turning back. And through the past 11 years, I got to be associated with some wonderful geologists, wonderful sources, and the education I received was unparalleled, because prior to that, most Americans and marketers and advertising agency didn't have a clue what bottled water was about. And look what it is today, a billion-dollar industry, almost reaching $5 billion. And after that, I did have the fortune of saying I would be semi-retired, coming up to Vermont and enjoying this landscape. And while I was up here, I discovered a spring in Randolph, not that very far south of here. And the adrenaline and the creative juices were still in me, and we started the Vermont Pure Company, and stayed with them for about 5 years, and sold out. And now, at this point, after several years of working in the Vermont area, I was further introduced back to Mr. Antonovich, and the project goes on from here. And I always want to individualize portions of water. Up until that time, it came in an ugly 5-gallon container, or maybe a jug similar to the milk. So along with the French engineers, we developed a PET, and we put the ribs on it. Came in with the molds for 8-ounce package, a 1-liter package, a 1.5 liter, and even a 2-liter. And with that, the whole marketing concept of the introduction of Evian became simple and more understandable to both the agencies, to the marketing people, because that one factor, that water would be portable, that water would be taken wherever you go, meant that I was stealing a leaf from the pages of Coca-Cola and Pepsi-Cola and putting it into bottled water. And even the Coca-Cola company, as you see, and you're watching advertising, they're in the water business. But they're using tap water that has been polished, and minerals have to be added. I think that the average consumer, with the work of what Evian did, or what Vermont did, and the other industry, will be able to always compete with the big giants, because the nature of a spring water has all the attributes of more healthy, natural, and the minerals enhance the value of performance. And there's one other thing that we will probably do more studying about. Natural waters aid digestion. Better than tap waters, better than manufactured waters. And those things, as we go on in the future, mean that bottled water will be part of our daily life, as Coke and Pepsi-Cola have been in the past. Now, if anything, I hope the people in the United States emulate what has happened all over the world, especially in Europe, where bottled water outsells sugar-carbonated beverages.
We feel that we have an opportunity to be able to develop this at a level which will be unprecedented in the spring water industry. And we would welcome an opportunity to share this with you and develop a partnership relationship for the development of this project.
Today there is a place in Vermont called Montpelier Springs. It's a free and timeless place where we can stay in touch with yesterday, for it's a place where a natural resource remains untouched since its discovery over 200 years ago. You are invited to visit and see New England's largest, purest, free-flowing springs as it was in the beginning.